Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I figured, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to talk to you on the Uncle John show about Roxbury, New York. And in Roxbury, New York, there's a lot of historical places. Now, I want to show you John Burroughs' Woodchuck Lodge. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. John Burroughs, Woodchuck Lodge. John Burroughs was a naturalist, ladies and gentlemen. He was a literature naturalist. Now I'll read this, ladies and gentlemen. He spent his boyhood and the last 10 summers of his life in these hills. Those summers were lived by those not just native fungi, but the luminates of the outer world, including Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, for his long-time friends and camping companions. Woodchuck Lodge is listed on the state and national registers of historical places. His graveyard, his gravesite, and his boyhood rocks are located at the peaceful memorial field just up the road from the lodge. It provides an outdoor exhibit on the life of John Burroughs and is open daily dawn to dusk. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is historical to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. I'll take a photo of it as time goes on. But John Burroughs wrote 23 books. And one of them was the Waking Robin, 1871. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a map. This is a map, ladies and gentlemen, of the historical story of John Burroughs. I have this catalog here, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to show you John Burroughs. And it's very, very interesting that he had a lot of historical people, and his beloved Catskill Mountains included Henry Ford and Thomas Edison. And they had tours and free programs, and they show you directions. And they do things for donations and etc. And it's historical. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is he was a graduate of Yale University, and he was a naturalist. He was a literature writer. He did everything. And I took photos and everything, so I want to just explain how important his history was. His history, he was from 1837 to 1921, ladies and gentlemen. So he has some years. So it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you understand the historical facts of John Burroughs. I'm going to put some information on the YouTubes and Twitter. Something I also want to bring up, ladies and gentlemen, that was brought to my attention that I need to also explain related to the John Burroughs. When I was in law school, I also was I took classes with Rabbi Mark Rubenstein. So I studied this individual section. This is the Book of Enoch, everybody. Not this is the Book of Enoch, but this is a section that they did not add into the Tanakh. They took this section out. But in the Holy Scriptures, this section is actually important because it explains things that is related to John Burroughs, everybody, because the purpose of me bringing this up, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to explain to you, ladies and gentlemen, about the Nephilim. So, a long time ago, I want to just give you the subject matter. A very long time ago, there was two people. There was a person named Yahweh Shaddai. There was a person named Elohim Shaddai. Now, you may say to me, a kid may ask me, who is Yahweh? That's God's name. Who is Elohim? That's God's other name. So you may say to me, John, how do you know historically with facts and evidence that there are two different people? Well, ladies and gentlemen, they are two different people. They're not the same person. So Elohim went by the name of John. Yahweh went by the name of Joseph. All of those names like God, Yahweh, Elohim, it's an acronym. It's an acronym. It has to do with their initials of their name, their full name. So like Enoch is called, now I'm not going to pronounce this, I'm just going to spell it. Enoch's other name is Chanoch. Chanoch. That's Enoch's other name that they use in this Holy Scriptures. So, I want to just explain to you about these watchers. So, in Enoch, section 7, it happened after the sons of man had multiplied in those days, and the daughters were born to them, elegant and beautiful. And when the watchers, the sons of heaven, behold them, they became enamored of them, saying to each other, come, let us select ourselves women from the purgatory of men, and let us beget children. So what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try and explain this as best as I can, because the watchers are brought up. See, it says in Aramaic text, watchers here, Aramaic fragments of Quram K4, Oxford. It said Oxford Press, 1976, page 167. And it says Genesis 6:1-2. And this is page 313. So I want to just explain this to you so you understand this. I want to explain this. So, there are, when you look at a diagram, you're going to see sons of heaven, and it's going to say watchers on it. So the watchers are not what they're called, what you call old angels. That's people like Michael, Uriel, etc. That's not them. That's their relative. So I want to just give you historical facts of what Enoch basically did. Enoch ascended to heaven. He's also called Metatron. That's his other name. When he ascended to heaven, he became an angel. So in this section right here, in this section, it starts at page 312. In his time, there was a lot of sinning events going on. And what these people were doing, all these people like Azazel and these people, they went against God's orders. God gave them specific orders. You can't mate or be in a marriage relationship with a human. We don't allow it. It's considered a sin. So they got casted out. They got pushed out. God said, or Yahweh said, you're getting pushed out. You're not allowed to do that. And some of those people like Azazel, Belphegor, Mammon, Leviathan, those groups of individuals that they call the kings of hell, has to do with this section here. Those people left. They rebelled against God's orders. That's the part that the watchers, I have to explain. The watchers are a group of people that they do what you call guardian angels do. So there is a person out there that is a person in this Holy Scriptures called Batriel. Batriel. Barachchiel. She is a guardian angel. He or she is a guardian angel. She is what you call a chief of the guardian angels. And that is not really explained in this book. It was explained to me in a version of the Tanakh and a version of the Torah. It explains that her position was that, like Archangel Azrael, which she's responsible for death, meaning that she's what you call a Grim Reaper person. When you pass away, she takes your... I'm going to explain this because it has to do with this sect. When you pass away, ladies and gentlemen, you pass away. Your soul leaves your body. Your body is just a vessel of your soul. It leaves. And she takes you up to heaven. And what God does, it doesn't really explain this in the Tanakh. It explains this in the Dead Sea Scrolls during Isaiah's time. Isaiah is in this book. God casts judgment. He sees what you've done. Now, some Jewish people don't believe in this. Some Jewish people believe in this. Some Christian people don't believe in this. Some Christians do. But this is something that I do have to explain to you. Heaven does exist, ladies and gentlemen. Hell does exist. Purgatory exists. Because when you pass away, when you have no pulse, when you pass away and you die, as an example, because that has happened to me. This has happened to my mother. My mother explained it to me. She got sick, ladies and gentlemen, and she saw heaven, and it was a very beautiful place. I saw it as well. I had a near-death experience. I can't lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. So, they do care. What Joshua did explain, not you call Jesus Christ. Joshua has a relative called Prophet Joshua, who's his relative in these books, said to me that you people need to stop. This is not me doing a warning. This is me explaining Enoch's thing. You need to start reading your holy scriptures. And I'm going to make this very, very simple with the Exodus, with section 20. You need to start respecting God's rules. God did not send Moses and half of his relatives to play games with a lot of this stuff going on. Now, I am going to explain this. I'm going to make it simple. I'm not going to play games. You have to respect God's rules. God's rules and regulations are important, ladies and gentlemen. And you have to understand, Exodus 20, it talks about a lot of this stuff. About, you shall have no other Elohim before me. That is number 3. I am Yahweh Elohim, which I have brought to you out of the land, out of the house of bondage. So he's explaining to these people. Now, all of this stuff, this is 101, 102. This is this Holy Scriptures right here. Now, I'm going to say this. Very, very important. I'm going to just tell you like it is, ladies and gentlemen. You need to understand. These are the rules and regulations of every person in the entire planet. Now, I'm going to say this. There is a difference, ladies and gentlemen, between religion and faith. Religion is a cult. Faith is what is explained by Yahweh and Elohim and all of these people. So, when Prophet Moses went through pain and suffering, and he had his staff, his stick, and he walks his people throughout the whole plane of existence, when he was going through this pain and suffering, I don't think Prophet Moses or even Abraham in his times would consider that to be a hard task. It took time. You have to respect these 10 sacred commandments. You also have to respect what God wants. God does not want you to be poor, ladies and gentlemen. God wants you to be happy. He wants you to be successful. All he asks is to respect the Sabbath, to go to temple, to go to church. If you want to go to the mosque, go to the mosque. But respect his rules. The Torah is the foundation of most of your faiths. It is all the foundation. And all Prophet Abraham wants me to say in these books here. Stop worshiping people that are considered deities. You need to stop bowing down to some of these people that are actors and actresses, ladies and gentlemen. They're just human beings. They're not people like Satan or Samael or any of those people like Satan's relatives. If you're worshiping those people, ladies and gentlemen, you are not going to last in the universe. Let me repeat that. If you're going to not respect God's wishes, meaning if you're going to eat that fruit of knowledge, as they say, and play games with God, he's not going to play fair. Meaning that God gives you so many chances. But after the so many chances, you have to make a choice, ladies and gentlemen. You have to choose a path. Now I'm going to say this. You're either going to choose the path of righteousness. You're going to stop this sinning behavior. Because it does explain this in these holy scriptures. Sinning is wrong. It is completely wrong. You're either going to choose the correct path, or you're going to be lead to damnation, and you're going to be sent to hell, and that person, Samael, is going to torture the heck out of you. You're going to have pain and suffering. Not the good pain and suffering. You're going to have his version of pain and suffering. And all he's doing is he wants you to go down to hell and be tortured. That's the whole purpose. I don't think Samael or any of those people get the picture. Joshua, Prophet Joshua, and all of these people like Enoch does not like people playing games with people like things like relics. So I'm just going to state that. Don't think God is not a puppet. He's not a puppeteer where he just does this motion of like doing things. He's not a puppeteer, ladies and gentlemen. He just wants you to follow the rules and regulations of what he sees fit. And he does not want you to go down a path. Because let me tell you something. God had to do a version of what you call ascending as well. We all have to do it. You have to make a choice. You're either going to sin, or you're going to choose the virtuous path, the virtuous signs. Virtuous signs, virtuous path means you're going to choose salvation. You're going to choose grace. You're going to follow the tree of what you call not knowledge, the tree of what you call the acronym of love. The tree of love, ladies and gentlemen. It's the tree of love. I call it the tree of love. You could call it whatever you want, but I call it the tree of love. And that's the tree where it's up and you see beautiful plants and things like that. Beautiful plants meaning being around the tree. You want to plant a positive thing in your mind, your subconsciousness. You want to think about happiness. And the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to just state this. I'm going to go back to Genesis, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you the truth. So, ladies and gentlemen, just like John 1:1 says, in the beginning Elohim created the heavens and earth, and the earth was without form and void, and the darkness was upon the face of the deep. And Elohim moved upon the face of the waters, and Elohim said, let there be light, and there was light. Now I'm going to go to that's number 3. That's all I'm going to say. Ladies and gentlemen, he is not, don't ever think that Yahweh is not watching, or Elohim is not watching. Don't think of those beings known as the godly people are not watching. They are always watching. They are always praying. they're always saying to themselves, your own relatives are saying, give me guidance, give me direction. So when when you're going through life, it's very important to study these Holy Scriptures here. It's very important to always have a pen and a piece of paper and to follow the sacred Holy Scriptures like the Torah is very important. And nobody, and I'm saying this not to be rude to you, to this Joshua Christ, nobody is one person you have to go through. There is Elisha can be another person, Ezekiel can be the person, Abraham can be the person, Prophetess Ruth can be the person. Prophetess Ruth can be another person as a representative. It doesn't have to be, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this to you. It does not have to be Joshua Christ that has to say, I am the way, and that's that. No, they did not have these Holy Scripture books not explain. He's not the only person to say, yes, he is the way. But there are other people that you can go to besides praying to Jesus Christ. There's other people, ladies and gentlemen. There's Prophet Abraham. Prophet Abraham is another person that you can go to. You can pray. You can pray to the angels. You have every right to pray to the angels. There's nothing wrong with that. Any of those angels will say, I'm not the only person. You can pray to God. Why don't you pray to God? Pray to Elohim. Pray to Yahweh. Pray to the right person. Don't pray to the wrong person. And another thing, be happy in life. Life is short. You see me yelling at the world and saying I hate everybody? No, I don't hate nobody. I learned to be just like this John Burroughs. I learned to be at peace with God. And when I was at peace, I found happiness. When you find happiness, you find the way. So take care, everybody. Have a pleasant and wonderful day. Take care.